League's newest game mode, Brawl, has already been deemed a failure by its community. But I think we may have jumped the gun a little. Now, don't get me wrong, playing Brawl right now kinda sucks. But that's not the fault of the game mode, it's solely because of how we're playing it. Most people immediately thought of ARAM when they saw this mode, and as a result, it's mostly being played like ARAM, instead of what it actually is, a territory control game. Let's break down what's already understood about the game and how it's being misinterpreted. To win a game of Brawl, you have to reduce the enemy team's total points from 250 to 0. You accomplish this by killing minions, getting kills on champions, and escorting minions to the enemy portal. Once one team is ahead enough in points, the losing team gains bonus damage amp and damage reduction. This mechanic seems to prevent snowballing, however, it doesn't account for gold. Let's take a look at how gold is gained in this mode. As you can see, kills are not worth nearly as much as we are used to, and jungle camps are much more valuable. Given that normal bounties are gone, it is much harder to come back from a large gold lead. Does that mean that early game champions will always win? No, the Yordle magic buff will eventually kick in as the team with more gold cashes in on their lead through champion kills and minion escorting. But if the team with more gold is careful, you can avoid gaining unnecessary points and focus on maintaining your gold generation by controlling territory. Gain enough gold, and the comeback mechanic won't help much once your team starts cashing in points. Here's another way of looking at this. If the enemy team plays the game like it's an ARAM, your team can have one player sneak jungle camps and get extremely fed while the rest of their team distracts the enemy team, maybe even giving over kills to give the enemy team a point lead. Eventually, the one farming player is so strong that they can take over the game and win team fights, giving the rest of their team access to gold and scoring points fast to close the gap. Another thing players haven't learned is the importance of basing. Recalling only takes 4 seconds in this mode, and health and mana regen in the fountain is very fast. Because of this, being able to disengage from a fight is extremely valuable. No one can ever be poked out of a fight for more than 10 seconds. So poke is mainly useful for gaining a temporary numbers advantage to control territory for a few seconds, which is all you need to take a camp or escort a wave into the portal. One thing I've noticed people complaining about is the simplicity of this mode. But I actually think the simplicity is what makes it a great mode. The basics are what will make the biggest difference in your games. Things like map awareness, playing around vision, and constantly being aware of number advantages will greatly increase your chances of winning. Another complaint is that melee champions are useless, and poke is king. But because there are so many objectives to keep track of, one team can never commit more than 3 players to one of them at a time without putting themselves at a disadvantage across the map. In smaller skirmishes, melees are much more powerful, especially with all the bushes and terrain on the map. Flanking is extremely powerful, and keeping track of every player on the map is very difficult without vision wards. I think once most players actually understand what is happening in Brawl, the game will change completely. Usually, people worry about optimizing the fun out of these 4 fun game modes, but in this case, I'm pretty confident that optimization will make it a much better experience.